Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today. Get ready to put on your detective hats, because today we are acting as visual investigators to decode a truly fascinating 16th century masterpiece. We're looking at a painting that is so much more than just a quick snapshot of a moment in time. It's actually a deeply layered puzzle about human nature itself.
But before we even look at the artwork, I've got to ask you this directly. Have you ever been distracted from something truly important by the promise of wealth? Really think about it. It's an incredibly relatable question, isn't it? That magnetic pull of shiny things, the allure of material gain, it just pulls our focus right away from the things we know we really should be paying attention to. And hey, this isn't just some modern problem of staring at our screens or chasing the next paycheck. It's a completely timeless struggle.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Part 1. A masterpiece of temptation.
The painting is called The Money Changer and His Wife, created by the brilliant artist Quentin Matsys. Here, Matsys is portraying Antwerp's rising bourgeois class. Now, at first glance, you might just see a wealthy couple going about their daily business. But Matsys is actually presenting a really profound moral reflection. These two figures are ordinary individuals, honestly kind of like us, caught right in the middle of a timeless moral dilemma, being completely tempted by the sheer gravity of material wealth sitting right in front of them.
To really wrap our heads around this, we have to ground ourselves in the era. The year is exactly 1514. This is a defining Northern Renaissance masterpiece. During this period, commerce was absolutely booming. Cities like Antwerp were thriving, and suddenly, everyday people were interacting with wealth and currency in totally new ways. It's at the perfect stage for an artist to explore what all this new money was actually doing to the human soul.
Moving along to Part 2. The Distracted Wife. Conflicting Focus.
Now, I want you to notice the incredible contrast Matsys paints for us here. On one side, you have the husband. His entire world in this exact moment is worldly desire. He is carefully, meticulously weighing shiny gold on his scale. Beside him sits his wife. She is supposed to be engaged in sacred duty, literally turning the pages of a beautifully illustrated prayer book. But look at where her eyes are. Her gaze has shifted completely away from her sacred duties. She is not reading that book. She is looking straight over at the gold her husband is weighing.
So the crucial point is that her shifting gaze serves as this loud, clear warning to the viewer. As the source material beautifully notes, spiritual responsibilities should not be neglected in the pursuit of material gain. It's a visual representation of the exact millisecond temptation wins over devotion. Matsys turns this split-second glance into an enduring, powerful symbol of distraction.
But wait, there's a really fascinating layer of irony here too. Take a closer look at that prayer book. This isn't just some standard, ordinary printed text. It is an object of serious material value in its own right. It features colorful illustrations, signaling it as a richly decorated manuscript that heavily emphasizes the family's wealth. Yet, even while holding this incredible, highly valuable sacred text, she just can't help herself. She is still completely distracted by the literal cold hard cash sitting on the table. Worldly possessions are actively overshadowing her spiritual duties.
All right, let's zoom in a bit for Part 3, Hidden Symbols and Meanings. We're going to rapid-fire decode some clues scattered across the canvas. Let your imaginary eye wander across those shelves in the background. Matsys actually maps deep religious and moral meanings onto these everyday items. Take the glass vessel. That's associated with purity. Contrast that with the fruit, which evokes original sin. And back in the center, of course, the weighed gold, cementing the theme of worldly temptation. Every single object is carefully constructed to strengthen the moral and religious dimensions of the scene.
And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute mastery of Northern Renaissance painting. Just look at the meticulous attention to detail arranged across the table. We have glowing gold coins, wonderfully intricate rings, polished metal containers, and carefully stacked books. Matsys paints these with such wild precision that you feel like you could reach out and grab them. The sheer realism of these material objects makes the temptation they represent feel all the more powerful and real to us as viewers.
Which brings us to Part 4, The Mirror's Secret, Expanding Space. Look really closely at the foreground here.
Right in the front of the table sits a convex mirror. Matsys is actually borrowing a very clever technique from earlier masters. As the text points out, like the famous mirror in Jan van Eyck's Arnolfini portrait, it expands the space beyond the main composition. It is an ingenious trick. Instead of just looking at the flat surface of a painting, the mirror punches a hole right into our space, dramatically expanding the entire universe of the artwork.
And when you look into that tiny, somewhat distorted reflection, what do you see? You see a man wearing a red head covering. This is highly likely a customer of the money changer. This single detail is a real game changer. It reveals that this couple isn't isolated in some silent void. There is a whole active world, a continuous stream of commerce and life, happening just outside the frame of our immediate vision.
Matsys reinforces this connection to the outside world in the background, too. There is an open doorway that reveals a view of the street outside. You can even see several standing figures out there. This brilliant compositional choice creates incredible depth, sure, but more importantly, it connects this quiet, private financial transaction happening at the table to the bustling, noisy reality of everyday urban life in 1514 Antwerp.
Let's move to and see how this all builds to Part 5, the ultimate question, a timeless struggle.
What we've seen today is how Quentin Matsys managed to elevate what could have been a totally mundane, everyday moment, just a guy weighing coins at a desk, into a timeless philosophical lesson about the human condition. He transforms an ordinary financial transaction into a deep reflection on temptation, wealth, and morality. The struggles of this bourgeois couple in 16th century Antwerp, well, they are exactly the same struggles we face today when we try to balance our own ambitions against our core values.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question that this masterpiece asks of anyone who stands in front of it. When material wealth captures our attention, what might we be neglecting? Take a moment to really reflect on your own modern-day distractions. What is the gold on your table, and what is the prayer book you're looking away from? Thank you so much for joining me on this visual investigation today. Keep your eyes open and keep questioning